Today we're covering everything you wanted to know about Electric Blue Acaras. From their origins, care, and tank mates, we got it all, so let's dive in. The Electric Blue Acara is a bright contrast to any tank, and it's an eye catcher. Its namesake comes from its electric blue coloring. With their color comes a very chill personality. They're easygoing and they're not aggressive compared to many other cichlids. They get along with most tank mates as long as they don't fit in their mouths. In terms of parenting, the Electric Blue Acaras are known for their parental skills, and they're devoted to taking care of their own from egg to fry.
Imagine watching National Geographic right at your living room, minus the narration.
If you decide to get an Electric Blue Acara, watch out for labels that might leave you confused. Some stores might call them Blue Acara or even just Acara. The right one is the hybrid version, as the Electric Blue Acaras were believed to be mixed with blue ram cichlids at some point in time, and it's been specifically bred for its hue and are meant for hobbyists. They're relatively easy to breed compared to many other fish species, and you can be a proud fish parent of an Electric Blue Acara fry in no time. Since this fish is a hybrid species, getting to know its genealogy and crossbreeding background adds to the appeal to the fish. All in all, this stylish fish is a showstopper, and it's a must-have for both novice and a seasoned aquarist. Native Acara fish hail from South America, mainly from Venezuela and off the coast in Trinidad and Tobago. These are close relatives of the Blue Acara. They've been discovered in other countries as well as non-natives, but further documentation is needed to prove their existence. Their habitats consist of different ecosystems, from murky to still waters and even clear and running rivers. Since they're South American cichlids, these fish prefer softer and more acidic water conditions. This fish is known for its bright electric blue color, and this has been achieved through hybridization or crossbreeding Blue Acara and blue rams. The result is a near metallic blue color with hints of yellow and orange. Some lower grade Acaras have patches of blue missing, revealing sections of black and gray. Their fins are relatively large compared to their body size. Adult males have longer and more pointed dorsal fins, while females have overall the opposite size. They boast a yellow or orange outline on the top of their dorsal fin too. Although size is not really a good way to distinguish males and females, especially when they're young. Male and female pairs will need to form on their own in most scenarios. But how big do they get? Adult Electric Blue Acaras can grow to be as big as 6 to 7 inches on average. Since they are freshwater cichlids, they should not be mistaken for dwarf cichlids and cannot be kept in a nano tank. And how long do they live? The Electric Blue Acara can live quite a long and fulfilling life if taken care of properly. Their lifespan is about 7 to 10 years in a well-maintained freshwater setup. The Electric Blue Acara is hardy and low maintenance since they can be found in different environments. Therefore, they are also an adaptable species, so just remember to have the basic care requirements and keep them in their desired parameters. If you try to construct a perfect setup, you can kiss that dream goodbye, as these cichlids are known for rearranging their surroundings, especially when they're in the mood to spawn. Although they are large and would usually hang out at the bottom of the tank, they'll even tour the upper levels every now and then. To make it simple, just make sure that there's plenty of open space and a thick sandy substrate. Plus maybe some driftwood or rocks for extra decor. Live plants are quite challenging too, so get ones that are hardy since these guys love to uproot things. Most aquarists opt for floating plants instead, which not only soften the lighting, but also create a cozy vibe that make the fish feel right at home. And if you're considering a community tank, just make sure your smaller fish have plenty of hiding spots to dodge any curious electric blues. Setting up a tank for Electric Blue Acaras can be a fun project, but there are a few ways to go about it. Many hobbyists love to showcase these vibrant fish as the stars of the show, arranging the rest of the tank's inhabitants around them. Some even choose to keep just Electric Blue Acaras, letting them breed and create their own little underwater family. If you're thinking about breeding though, make sure you have at least a 40-gallon tank. This gives the male and female enough space, plus room for the fry until they're ready to swim out on their own. If you want to include other fish in the mix, aim for a 55-gallon tank or bigger, keep everyone happy. These guys are active swimmers, so they thrive in open spaces. But keep in mind that they can get a little territorial, especially the males, and more especially when they're in breeding mode. A larger tank helps ease any tension and gives them plenty of room to roam. The hardy Electric Blue Acara is one of the top picks of beginners and experienced aquarists alike, as putting them in different water conditions is quite easy and worry-free. Although ammonia and nitrite are things you want to steer clear of. A good reference for their natural habitat in South America would be a soft acidic water with a pH playing around 6 to 7.0, while their temperature ranges from 74 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Tank maintenance is a must, and 15 to 25% water change weekly or bi-weekly is essential to keep the nitrate levels in check. Adding some live plants can help manage those levels too, but the rest needs to be removed manually. Do take note that most tanks do well with under 30 parts per million nitrate. Maintaining your substrate is just as important. So, vacuum any uneaten food or other wastes that could affect the water conditions of the tank. Due to their size, their food intake and bioload are just as big. So remember to regularly maintain the entire tank to avoid any rotting materials that would make the environment toxic for the fish. All in all, a bit of care goes a long way in keeping your Electric Blue pal happy and thriving. When you're setting up a tank, you're going to want to make sure you have a pretty solid filter, such as hang-on backs or even canister types. These fish aren't very particular with the type of filter they need, just a bit of regular upkeep to maintain the water quality. A good filter for this setup is something that's rated for at least double the size of your tank, since Electric Blue Acaras can get pretty big. They thrive in slow to medium water flow, but they can adapt to almost any current level as long as there's some calmer spots in the tank for them to chill out. Keep in mind that a high flow can stir up sand substrate and cause a bit of a mess. And while you usually don't need extra aeration, tossing in a surstone can help get the water moving in the lower parts of the tank and add a nice touch to the overall look. While there's no recommended light levels for the Electric Blue Acara, it's preferable to have them at the high lighting so that their appearance is emphasized in the tank. Although you may need to consider the lighting requirements of different tank inhabitants if they exist. The best option for you would be a fluorescent or LED light fixture. Floating plants are good for diffusing bright lights, especially if the light fixture is too intense. One thing to take note of is how low water flow and high lighting can influence the growth of algae. When it comes to setting up a tank for the Electric Blue Acaras, aesthetics and practicality are the best options when shopping for decor. These fish are quite the curious Georges, as they love to dig and rearrange their environment. And this means you're going to need to choose your plants wisely. Anubias, Java Fern, and Hornwort are pretty indestructible when it comes to the Acara's rough nature, but don't be surprised if your fish decide to redecorate. As for decorations, many cichlid keepers opt for rocks such as the Texas Holy Rock, ceramatic pots, and driftwood. The simpler the better. But be aware that Electric Blues can get a bit possessive over their favorite spots, especially when they're in spawn mode. They're usually friendly with other tank mates, but breeding season does tend to bring out their aggressive side. Cichlids love to burrow in the sand, and some even create breeding pits for their spawning season, so the Electric Blue would have a preference for a sandy substrate, though they would have a tendency to redecorate the tank to their liking, and although it can be messy at times, this is going to keep your fish happy. Gravel can injure the fish and frustrate them, so that's a no-go. Electric Blues aren't picky eaters, so you can feed them just about anything, and let me tell you, it's quite a sight watching them eat. That being said, a high-quality diet can keep them strong, healthy, and most of all, support their overall well-being and appearance, and of course, a poor diet will negatively affect their health and appearance as well. Live, frozen, and freeze-dried foods, meaty items, and vegetables are their staple diet, but you need to feed them frequently. To make this much more affordable, high-quality fish food flake or pellet is a regular go-to. But brine shrimp, mysis shrimp, bloodworms, earthworms, and even mollusks are great pet treats for the Electric Blue. Electric Blue Acaras are pretty passive. They can be kept with almost any tank mates of any size and activity level. But let me give you the best tank mates for your Electric Blue, being larger tetras, barbs, corydorus, loaches, plecos, as well as dwarf crayfish and nerite snails being seen as common invertebrate tank mates for the Electric Blues. For an all-cichlid tank setup, these cousins are your best species to have with your Electric Blue Acaras. Severums, Geophagus, angelfish Pterophyllum scalare, Apistogramma, and rams. But are they aggressive? Well, as we said before, in terms of aggressiveness, the Electric Blue can be in both ends of the spectrum depending on the situation. While generally they're peaceful in a community tank, these fish can also keep up with other aggressive species. So can you buy a single one by itself? Electric blues aren't a schooling fish species, but they would prefer some company, of course, as keeping only a single fish can really put the blue in electric blue and cause aggression or reclusion. So how many should you have? While commonly kept in pairs, it's quite difficult to distinguish males and females, especially when you get them as juveniles. A safe bet would be to get a small group of around 5 and allow them to naturally pair off as they grow. This common practice reduces confusion when breeding, and it provides multiple pairing options. While this is a common practice among successful aquarists, some would like to keep it safe and keep only a pair due to their aggressive male behavior. Alright, let's talk about poor tank mates. While adaptable, the Electric Blue Acara is not ideal for every home setup. Size matters when it comes to tank mates because you don't want little swimmers to become an electric blue special, and you don't want overly aggressive species that'll fight back. Small invertebrates like dwarf shrimp and snails are going to be seen as snacks for your electric blue. Breeding Electric Blue Acaras is a blast, and it's surprisingly straightforward. Unlike some other cichlids that keep their eggs in their mouths, these colorful fish are egg layers, which makes the whole process a bit easier to manage. The tricky part is finding a good breeding pair, since telling males from females can be a bit of a challenge. Males are usually larger with longer, pointier dorsal fins, but even then, it's not always obvious. The good news is, once you find that perfect pair, they're monogamous and they'll stick together for life. To get started, it's best to buy a group of small juveniles and let them pair off naturally. Once they're mature and ready to breed, you can either use your main tank or set up a 20-gallon breeding tank for better control. When the female legs her eggs, usually around 100 to 200 on a flat surface, the male will jump in to fertilize them, and then the fun really begins. The parents will protect the eggs and even create a little pit for the fry once they hatch. Just make sure to have some baby brine shrimp on hand for feeding. In no time, you'll have a bunch of little Electric Blue Acaras swimming around, and the parents will be ready to breed again before you know it. Since these species are bred from other hardy fish, they're obviously very versatile in different environments, but they're not invulnerable to diseases like ick and skin flakes, which are treatable and preventable. When buying an Electric Blue Acara, it's important to select one with vibrant colors and normal active behavior. Ensure it eats well to avoid acquiring sick or stressed fish. Quarantining new fish for at least 3 weeks before introduction to an aquarium is also advisable. So, that's pretty much it for our video about the Electric Blue Acara. These fish are among one of the favorite cichlids among fish keepers, and it's easy to see why. They're versatile and they're good all-around fish that can get along with almost any other species. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to be updated with our latest videos. Also, check out our website for everything and anything aquarium hobby related. Or better yet, check out the next video on your right. Until the next time, we'll see ya.